Ibrahim Traore, the interim president of Burkina Faso, isn't afraid to speak his mind. He's a leader with a powerful vision for his country and for Africa. In a recent speech, Traore delivered a passionate call for African independence and unity. He reminded the world that true freedom means controlling your own destiny. Traore's message resonates far beyond the borders of Burkina Faso. His words are a rallying cry for all Africans, urging them to break free from the shackles of colonialism and neocolonialism. He challenges us to imagine an Africa that is no longer dependent on outside powers, an Africa that stands tall on the world stage. Traore's vision is clear. He sees an Africa where its vast resources benefit its people, not foreign corporations. He dreams of an Africa where security is ensured by strong, capable African armies, not foreign interventions. He envisions an Africa where its rich culture and heritage are celebrated, not overshadowed by Western influences. This is not just a dream, it's a call to action. Traore's message is a reminder that the power to change Africa lies in the hands of Africans themselves. It's time to shed the weight of history and build a brighter future, a future where Africa finally takes its rightful place in the world. The legacy of colonialism still casts a long shadow over Africa. For centuries, European powers exploited Africa's resources and people for their own gain. They drew arbitrary borders, dividing communities and fueling ethnic tensions. They imposed their own systems of governance, undermining traditional structures and creating fertile ground for corruption. Even though the era of direct colonial rule has ended, the chains of colonialism remain. Neocolonialism, a more subtle form of control, continues to shape Africa's destiny. Foreign corporations, often with the backing of their governments, still hold significant sway over Africa's economies. They extract valuable resources, leaving little behind for local communities. These neo-colonial practices extend beyond economics. Western media outlets often portray Africa through a distorted lens, focusing on conflict, poverty, and disease. This narrative reinforces stereotypes and undermines Africa's image on the global stage. It perpetuates the idea that Africa is incapable of solving its own problems, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of dependence. Traore's message is a powerful antidote to this narrative of despair. He reminds us that Africa is not defined by its colonial past. He encourages Africans to reclaim their history, to celebrate their cultures, and to write their own stories. The time has come to break free from the mental chains of colonialism and embrace a future of self-determination. Traore's vision for a stronger, more independent Africa is rooted in the principles of Pan-Africanism. This movement, which emerged in the early 20th century, calls for the unity and solidarity of all people of African descent. It recognizes that Africa's strength lies in its collective power, in its shared history, and in its common destiny. Pan-Africanism offers a compelling alternative to the divisive forces of colonialism and neocolonialism. It encourages Africans to look beyond artificial borders and to embrace their shared identity. It promotes cooperation and collaboration between African nations, fostering economic integration and regional security. There have been significant strides towards Pan-African unity in recent decades. The formation of the African Union in 2002 marked a major step towards greater integration and cooperation. The African Union provides a platform for African nations to address shared challenges, from conflict resolution to economic development. However, there is still a long way to go. True Pan-African unity requires more than just symbolic gestures or diplomatic agreements. It demands a fundamental shift in mindset, a move away from narrow national interests towards a broader Pan-African perspective. It requires a commitment to shared prosperity, where the benefits of economic growth are distributed equitably across the continent. For decades, foreign aid has been touted as a solution to Africa's development challenges. While well-intentioned, aid often comes with strings attached, serving the interests of donors as much as recipients. It can create dependency, undermine local initiatives, and perpetuate a cycle of reliance. Traoré challenges the notion that Africa needs handouts. He argues that true development comes from within, from harnessing Africa's own resources and ingenuity. He advocates for a shift away from aid dependency towards self-reliance and sustainable growth. This doesn't mean rejecting all forms of foreign assistance. There are instances where targeted aid, particularly in times of crisis, can be invaluable. However, it's crucial to ensure that aid is used effectively, transparently, and in a way that empowers local communities. The focus should be on building long-term partnerships, not short-term fixes. This means investing in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. It means supporting local entrepreneurs and fostering innovation. It means creating an environment where African businesses can thrive and compete on the global stage. Section 5. Resources Africa's birthright. Africa is a continent of immense wealth. It holds vast reserves of oil, gold, diamonds, and other valuable resources. Yet despite this abundance, many African nations remain mired in poverty. This disconnect between resource wealth and economic development is a stark reminder of the legacy of exploitation that continues to plague the continent. Traoré believes that Africa's resources should be used to benefit its people, not foreign corporations or corrupt elites. He advocates for the nationalization of key industries and for greater control over the extraction and sale of natural resources. This doesn't mean cutting ties with foreign investors altogether. It's about negotiating fair deals that ensure a more equitable distribution of profits. It's about investing resource revenues in education, healthcare, and infrastructure, creating a virtuous cycle of growth and development. Imagine an Africa where the profits from its vast mineral wealth are used to build schools, hospitals, and roads. Imagine an Africa where its agricultural potential is fully realized, feeding its people and boosting its economies. This is the vision that Traoré paints, a vision where Africa's resources fuel its own development. Section 6, security through self-reliance. Security is paramount for any nation's development. Without peace and stability, it's impossible to attract investment, create jobs, or improve the lives of citizens. Yet, many African countries face significant security challenges, from terrorism and insurgency to organized crime and interstate conflict. Traoré argues that true security can only come from within. He calls for African nations to strengthen their own militaries, to invest in training and equipment, and to develop the capacity to address their own security challenges. This doesn't mean rejecting all forms of external security assistance. There are times when cooperation with international partners is necessary, particularly in the face of transnational threats like terrorism. However, such partnerships should be based on mutual respect and shared responsibility. not dependence or subservience. The goal should be to build African solutions to African problems. This means addressing the root causes of conflict, such as poverty, inequality, and political exclusion. It means investing in diplomacy, dialogue, and conflict resolution mechanisms. It means creating a culture of peace and tolerance where differences are resolved through dialogue, not violence. Section 7. The scourge of corruption. Corruption is a cancer that eats away at the fabric of society. It undermines trust in government, discourages investment, and perpetuates poverty and inequality. Sadly, corruption is a pervasive problem in many African countries, hindering development and eroding public faith in institutions. Traoré recognizes the corrosive impact of corruption and has made tackling it a priority of his administration. He has pledged to hold corrupt officials accountable, regardless of their position or connections. He has also emphasized the importance of transparency and accountability in government, promoting open contracting and public access to information. Combating corruption requires a multi-pronged approach. It demands strong institutions, independent judiciaries, and a free and vibrant media. It requires a change in mindset, a shift away from a culture of impunity towards a culture of accountability. Citizens also have a crucial role to play in the fight against corruption. They must demand transparency from their leaders, hold them accountable for their actions, and report any instances of wrongdoing. By working together, governments and citizens can create a culture of integrity and break the cycle of corruption. Section 8. The power of African culture. Africa is a continent of immense cultural richness and diversity. From music and dance to art and literature, Africa's cultural contributions have enriched the world. Yet for too long, African culture has been marginalized, overshadowed by Western influences and narratives. Traoré believes that it's time for Africa to reclaim its cultural heritage. He encourages Africans to celebrate their traditions, to embrace their languages, and to tell their own stories. He sees culture as a powerful tool for unity, for fostering national pride, and for projecting a positive image of Africa on the global stage. Promoting African culture isn't just about preserving the past. It's about shaping the future. It's about fostering creativity, innovation, and critical thinking. It's about empowering young Africans to embrace their heritage and to use their talents to build a better future for themselves and their communities. Imagine an Africa where its music, art, and literature are celebrated around the world. Imagine an Africa where its fashion designers, filmmakers, and musicians set global trends. Imagine an Africa where its rich cultural heritage is a source of pride, unity, and inspiration. This is the vision that Traoré champions, a vision where African culture flourishes and inspires the world. Section 9. A brighter future for Africa. Ibrahim Traoré's message is a powerful reminder of the potential that resides within Africa. It's a call to action for all Africans to embrace their shared destiny and to work together to build a brighter future. It's a future where Africa is no longer defined by its colonial past, but by its own aspirations and achievements. This future won't be built overnight. It will require sustained effort, unwavering commitment, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. It will demand bold leadership, visionary thinking, and a relentless focus on the needs of the people. The path ahead may be challenging, but the rewards are immeasurable. Imagine an Africa that is prosperous, peaceful, and united. Imagine an Africa that is a beacon of hope, a model of sustainable development, and a global leader in innovation and creativity. This is the future that is within Africa's grasp, a future worth fighting for. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.